Hi, everyone. I'm Reverend Stephanie Butler Adams, and this is Sistahs on Sacred Grounds, where we use affirmations, music, and coffee to create a dialogue which addresses an array of real life issues, emotions, expressions, and experiences that only our music and its lyrics bring about, specifically in women, relationally, culturally, and spiritually, across both sacred and secular genres. Sistahs on Sacred Grounds. On this episode, TikTok. Women can shut down rumors, parties, political debates, and dance floors, but we haven't been able to shut down the hands of time. Today, we'll address how we know the latest apps, what's new in hair and makeup, and even how to start a business, yet we secretly struggle with the stigma of lost time. Let's get our time management skills in order. Ladies, let's go. Today on Sistahs on Sacred Grounds. Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to Sistahs on Sacred Grounds, where we use music and affirmations and coffee to create a dialogue about real life issues, especially those issues that are affecting women today, women of color. Amen? Yes. So listen, Black women can shut down so many things. We can stop a party, we can stop an argument, we can stop people in their tracks, but we cannot seem to stop the hands of time. We save time, we rob time, we get robbed of time, right? We lose time, but none of us have figured out how to master slowing down the hands of time. And so today, what we're going to talk about, number one, is how much time we waste, right? Do you waste a lot of time? I mean, especially now, it seems like you only have time on your hands, but time really does wait for no one. And once you lose it, you can't get it back. So we are going to talk with a phenomenal woman who is not just time conscious, but she's a planner, right? And she is one who has started something called the Women's Wellness Garden. Oh, I can't wait to talk to her about that. So today on Sistahs on Sacred Grounds, we have the Joy Nicole White. Meet Joy Nicole White. She's a business executive, women's health nurse practitioner, and she's licensed to preach in the AME Church. Joy is founder of the Women's Wellness Garden and co-founder of the Black Girls Plan. In her leisure time, she coaches and mentors young women, and she serves as the director for a reading program that provides students pre-K to fourth grade with educational support and development of reading, language arts, and comprehension. Joy's a wife and mother of 3 adult children, and she manages her time by planning and has planned a life she loves. The Joy Nicole White, how are you?
I am doing well. How are you, Reverend Steph?
Awesome, looking beautiful as usual. Yes.
Thank you. As do you, my dear. As do you.
Thank you. So, Joy, listen, we are very multitask oriented women, right? And
Indeed.
when I think about all of what's going on in COVID and all of the projects and programs and everything that people are doing, and I have still had to do even during COVID, I just want to start off by asking you, how has this whole COVID-19 stay at home, quarantine, how has it affected you spiritually and your whole household, the wellness of your household?
Sure. What a great question, Reverend Steph. First, let me say how honored I am to be with you this afternoon. Oh my goodness, this is exciting stuff. So great question about COVID. Spiritually, it's so interesting because I think during this time, there's a difference between ministering to others and being busy in the church and in your respective areas of ministry. But it's a completely different thing when you actually take time for ministering to yourself. And so I would say in this COVID time, for me, it's very much been about being ministered to, and spending quality time in relationship with Christ and not just giving. And so I've enjoyed it so very much, just having really some quality time with God. Um, so thank you for that question. In terms of wellness for the family and how we've been doing, man, there are some that would say it is all bad. COVID has been all horrible. And I would beg to differ with that. While the death and the infection has been devastating, I don't detach from that. But I also look at what is good. What is good out of this? What is God showing us out of this? And it's been so much beautiful time spent with family, walking more than one time a day, really taking in the outdoors, going down to the harbor and just taking in ocean walks with my husband, working more outdoors. So there's been this wonderful time of rekindling of family and love and inspiration, creativity. So that's been the good side of this.
That's phenomenal. And just hearing you say, walking along the beach with your husband, I mean, that just takes me into a whole nother place, right?
Yes.
It takes me into a whole nother place. So listen, this women's wellness garden, I'm intrigued, right? The mission, I've read your mission and I love it. And I want you to just kind of pull a few things out of it. The Women's Wellness Garden, you say that it's to create a healing space for women around the world to embrace who they are and the 8 dimensions of wellness. Joy, I didn't know that wellness had 8 dimensions. Can you tell us what are these 8 dimensions? Just a quick study.
Absolutely. So when you think about being whole, right? There's so many parts to us. If we only focused on our physical well-being, there's so many other parts. So the Women's Wellness Garden really is about being healthy and being whole in the 8 dimensions, as you mentioned. One being physical wellness. So that is what we eat. That's how we sleep, how we care for our bodies. Then there's spiritual wellness. So how we connect with the Creator, what that looks like for us, how that feels for us, and how we prioritize that as part of our life. So that's physical wellness, that's spiritual wellness. Then there's emotional. So how we react to things that happen in our life, how we respond to those things. There's financial wellness. How are we handling our finances now? How have we handled them in the past? How will we handle them in the future? How are we preparing for our future? Then there's social wellness. How do we engage with the world around us and the people in the world around us? What does that look like? And sometimes that means deleting and distancing from people that add no value. So that's a whole nother Sistahs on Sacred Ground. So episode. So we'll hold that. Then there's environmental wellness. How do we connect with our environment, the wind, the trees, our personal space? If we work at home, what does that space look like to create balance for us? Is it cluttered? And does that create anxiety for us? So environmental wellness. Then there's intellectual wellness. What are we doing to stimulate creativity and curiosity? So that intellectual wellness, is that reading books, learning new languages? Is that debating a topic with a friend? So there's intellectual wellness. There is also, and a lot of people don't think about how we pull the thread on all of those to create balance, health, and wholeness. So we talked about physical wellness, we talked about spiritual wellness, we talked about social wellness, we talked about intellectual wellness, we talked about environmental wellness. One of the things that we don't talk about is occupational wellness. And so that is connecting and doing work that really connects with your purpose as well as your passion. And so that's a really big one. And so those are the 8 dimensions of wellness. And so the Women's Wellness Garden really looks to pull the thread on those and have women check in with themselves on all 8 of those dimensions to make sure that we're taking care of the whole self. Because Reverend Steph, when we're off balance, our household tends to be off balance. Some would say if mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. But I would choose to say when we're off balance, the whole family's off balance.
Got it. So Joy, I had no idea. I mean, when you break down those 8 dimensions, I'm like, holy holy, holy. I mean, there's just a lot there. But what
Yeah.
I'm wondering is, of the 8, can you just talk to us about the one that you think really affects us as Black women, if there is one, the most?
Mhm. Absolutely. And I would be remiss um, if I didn't answer this question for you without you even asking. Uh, I believe that when we are healthy and whole spiritually, so that is connecting with the Creator, uh, that is recognizing your purpose and your place on this earth, which only comes through having a spiritual connection with Christ. And so for me, if when I look at the 8, everything else can center around that, because when I understand my purpose, when I understand why I'm here, when I connect with my Creator, uh, I mean, it is without saying that emotionally I'm better. It goes without saying that I recognize my body as the temple, so physically I'm better. It goes without saying when I connect with who I am and I know my purpose, that intellectually I know what it is that I need to become an expert on. It also impacts the way that I spend my finances and how I plan. It impacts my social relationships because I know how to talk to people, I know how to distance, I know how to love. So all of those things environmentally, I recognize that who created this earth, and when I'm connected spiritually and I look out, I see God's beauty. So for me, when I'm spiritually grounded, when I'm spiritually connected, when I'm spiritually healthy and whole, everything else tends to fall in place. And I think for the Black woman, recognizing that as a culture, spirituality is very, very important to us as a culture. I think that many would find that when they're spiritually healthy and whole, everything else tends to center very well.
Wow, that is powerful. But I mean, I'm sure that there are some women that are watching who are not connected to God whatsoever. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
guess that's just one dimension that as sisters we would want to foster, among us.
Yeah.
But I want to shift gears a little bit, because now you've got me thinking. You've got me thinking about wellness, and I'm thinking about my life overall, holistically, mind, body, spirit. And now I'm thinking about planning. One of the things that you say is that you plan for the life that you want, or you plan to live the life you love.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that saying, planning a life you love. What
Yeah.
really does that phrase mean to you? When I say it, what does it mean to you? And how do we get started as women? How can we get started in that discipline of planning the life we love?
Great question. And so when I hear that, when I think that, when I wrote that, planning a life you love really is understanding, again, understanding your purpose, your passion, what motivates you, what inspires you, and doing that. It's also a way of I call it filtering your life. So if it's not something that brings me joy, if it's not something that aligns with my purpose or passion, albeit I may be great at it and somebody may have asked me to do it, if it doesn't align with my passion and purpose, then it's easy for me to say, thank you so much for considering me, but please move on to the next person. So I would say when you plan a life that you love, it's very, very easy to declutter because you know what it is you've been designed to do, and you take purposeful steps to do those things. So let me give you an example of that. Or you say, how do you get started? I think first it's
How do we get started?
yeah, I think
Yes.
first it's understanding what your purpose is. How do I know that? How do you understand your purpose? Some people say, what am I here for? I'm still trying to figure that out. And I think that goes back to, even for those women who may not be connected, recognizing the things that bring you joy. And so starting there, what are the things that bring me joy? What are the things that I do that I feel most alive when I do them? Whether that is teaching others, whether it's mentoring, whether it's reading, whether it's biking, um, whatever it is, what is that thing that brings you joy? And so for me, planning a life you love, people say, I love my family. I love to travel. I enjoy financial planning, whatever those things are, then making sure that as you look at your day, that those things are incorporated. It's incorporated in the work that you do. Are you actually working in an area that fuels your passion? And so to get started, I think that is the number one. That's the number one tip I can give. It's start with
So
understanding.
finding the thing that brings you joy
Yes.
is how we
Yes.
get started. I think that's so important because I
Yeah.
think, just women, we do a lot of things that we do not actually enjoy doing. It's just who we are.
Facts.
We just get it done. But if you're saying to us that we can actually plan for a life that we love by first finding the things that bring us joy, I think we could
Yes.
just begin to journal those things. That's powerful, Joy. So
Yeah.
let's talk about a real life situation that just happened. And I would say that this was a life very well lived and very well planned. We just
Yeah.
lost this phenomenal actor, artist in the way of Chadwick Boseman, right? And I was thinking about his life and thinking, like, I can only imagine what kind of work ethic that man had.
Yeah.
It had
Yeah.
to be some type of phenomenal work ethic. And when we're
Absolutely.
talking about planning, that work ethic has to go into it. So, Joy, can you talk to us a little bit about the importance of cultivating like a strong work ethic, especially for our younger women?
So what a great question. I think, yeah, my thoughts, prayers go out to the Bozeman family. Yes, I agree with you. Work ethic, absolutely phenomenal. I think it's really, really important, particularly when you mentioned talking to our younger women. Starting with, again, I go back to when you understand what you're here for and your purpose. Part of that work ethic is so interesting because it doesn't even feel like work when you're pursuing the thing that you're passionate about, right? But I'm very much into writing the vision and making it plain. So, what's the goal? What's the goal for this week? What is it that you need to accomplish this week or even today? So very often on Sundays, that's my planning time. I sit and I look at the week. I look at what I have to do that particular week, and I say, what are the milestones? What are the things I need to accomplish this week that will help me to push closer to my ultimate goal? And then I break it down even further. So now I'm looking at Monday. What are the things I need to accomplish Monday? And I identify 3 goals for that day. What are the 3 things I need to accomplish today? And so I think for younger women, really understanding the importance of writing it down, creating the vision and making it plain, understanding what the target is you're trying to hit so you're not all over the place. So I'm really big on planning a life you love, and part of that planning is writing it down, creating the vision, giving yourself a timeline to accomplish things.
So then part of my work ethic, I've got to do something to cultivate that work ethic. It's not just going to magically drop on me, right? So if I'm going to cultivate a strong work ethic, one that I can follow, you're saying that I need to start to write some things down?
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Make it plain, write it down. It can't all stay up here. So what happens is we don't rest.
But it is. That's where it is. It's all up here.
But we don't rest well when that happens. We find ourselves waking up in the middle of the night and we have this thought, and it's like, oh, I can't forget this in the morning. Or we've got stickies on the side of our bed because we're jotting things down because we're trying to keep it all up here.
Hey everybody, it's time for the tea about coffee. An apple a day keeps the doctor away? Really? Well, what about coffee? Did you know that coffee is actually a fruit? That's right, coffee beans grow on a bush. They're actually the seed of a berry, which makes them a fruit. A daily cup of freshly brewed coffee is not a bad idea. On the contrary, some scientists say it's healthy. In addition to a boost of energy, it's also been shown to have a positive effect against type 2 diabetes, liver disease, and lowers the risk of heart failure. So, if you're running late, grab a piece of fruit, but don't forget your coffee. All right, so listen, time killers. What are your top 5 time killers? Tell us what are we wasting our time on?
there's so many things that we waste our time on. The one that sticks out the most is social media. Um, you know, we go on to just check in on folks, and you know, it's 45 minutes later, and we've been scrolling, right? So I would say social media is an absolute time suck. We spend a lot of time on television, on social media. Television is the number two. Particularly now we're home, and so between Netflix series and Prime Video series and HBO series and CNN and MSNBC and all of those other things, I would say television is another absolute. It steals our time. Um, those are the two majors. When you say five, you know, some people would say, "Oh, I get a lot of phone calls," and but I think during this period, I almost welcome those because we're in such of a technological age where we text everything and we email everything. I really, 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 for social wellness, I love that the phone is ringing more and people are calling and they're FaceTiming and they're Zooming because they want to connect. And so that's very much welcomed. I believe in taking time to allow yourself to daydream. Some would say that that's a time suck, but I think if you don't give your mind the opportunity to create and just to dream and to innovate, you really do stifle those gifts that are within you. And so I know you want five, but those are the two majors.
That's good. This is good stuff because one of the things that I say is daydreaming is preparation. Daydreaming is preparation, right? So you've got to envision it before you can actually execute it. So I love that. And then so you're saying you welcome all these phone calls and text messages and all of that because people want to connect, but are you still screening your calls? Because
Great
I
question.
think that there are some people that waste my time when they call. And I'm trying to be on point. I'm trying, you know, I have written down everything I need to do for the day, but an unexpected phone call. How do you handle that?
So great question. I think you hit something on the head. You know those individuals who literally, really, they can rob your time. But for me, rather than avoiding the conversation, I think what we have to get really good at is establishing boundaries. Right. So the day and the time that person reaches out, if you know that phone call is generally a half hour to 45 minutes, you have to set the expectation with that caller and say, "Hey, Joy, so glad that you called. It's great to hear from you. Let me start by saying I only have about 10 minutes. Is that enough time for this call? Is that enough time?" Because part of the planning is to say, if they say, "Oh, no, I really need more time," then you say to them, "Well, you know what? I don't want to not give you the time that you need. Let me plan that. Let me look at my calendar and let me find a time where I can give you more time." And so the beauty of that is it doesn't derail your day. It also establishes really some boundaries with that individual because they may say, "Oh no, I can get it done in 10 minutes." And what that gives you the power to do at 10 minutes to say, "Hey, Joy, it's 10 minutes. I enjoyed talking to you. Let's do this again." Disconnect. So I think we've also got to not avoid, but really create the boundary, right? And set the expectation.
So Joy, listen, this conversation is really helping a lot of people. And like I said, if no one else, it's helping me. Let's talk about poor planning, procrastination, which is just a demon from hell, right? And just being last minute. Those three things lead to some major stress for some people. And I'm telling you, I can remember over the years, it took me a while to learn this lesson, but over the years, whenever I was about to travel, if I did not pack the night before and saved all my packing for maybe 5 or 4 hours before the flight, I mean, it was stress. It was really stress. That's a simple example, but I think that some people like the last minute. They like the adrenaline rush, like, "Oh my gosh, I got to do, oh, I've got to be there. I've got to be there." I have grown to really despise that. For me personally, I want you to tap into the mind of the person if you could. If you could tap into that person's mind, the person's mind who lives in the last minute. Talk to her. What's going on with her?
So, the thing that I would say to that woman, I think you raised a wonderful point. There's some people who really love the adrenaline of the last minute. They like that adrenaline rush. It's almost like they're a martyr in that space. Oh my God, I did all this packing at the last minute and I remembered everything. So there are those. I think by and large, many women don't fall in that category. I think many women really, really want to have enough time to do all the things. I say all the things. They want to do all the things. So they want to have the house clean. They want to make sure dinner is prepared. They want to make sure the kids are all set. They want to make sure that hubby's taken care of. They want to make sure that they're taking care of themselves. They want to make sure they pack for that trip. And so it's all the things. And I think that's where planning really does help. Because we waste more time, believe it or not, when we don't plan, because we're kind of walking in circles, if you will. So when if I were to speak to that woman, I would say, let's stop. When do we know about the vacation? When is the vacation happening? So when we do that every week, that Sunday afternoon, and we're actually looking at the week ahead, how do we incorporate and make sure that we're putting in time? It may not be packing all at once. It may be, hey, I'm going to pack for the kids on Monday. I'm going to pack for myself on Tuesday. I'm going to make sure hubby has his stuff on Wednesday. Thursday, I'm not touching anything, or I'm washing last minute clothes. Friday, I'm going to make sure all the bags are done. And by Saturday morning, we're ready to go. And so really it goes back to planning it so that you don't have the rush. And so some people would say, well, then where do I find time to do the planning? What I would say is all the time that you waste not planning.
Wait, say that again.
Where do you find the time to plan? All of the time that you waste not planning. Once you recoup all that time,
okay,
you have time to plan.
Whoa. Okay. Okay. Again, I say you're helping a lot of people, myself included. Okay. If you could mentor, Joy is a phenomenal mentor. She mentors young women. That's her thing, right? If you could mentor the 19-year-old Joy Nicole, right? The 19-year-old version of you, what would you warn her about as it relates to wasting time and trying to plan that life that she loves?
Yeah.
19-year-old Joy.
Yeah, 19-year-old Joy, I would tell her to don't second guess who you are. Don't second guess what you know you were called to do. Do that. And so sometimes you have to quiet the voices around you and stay focused on what you know you've been called to do. That's what I would tell her.
Nice.
That's what I would tell her.
Well, Joy, you have another initiative. I don't know, should I call it an initiative that is actually called Black Girls Plan?
Actually, it's soon to be a for-profit. So yeah, the Black Girls Plan.
Yes. Fantastic. Because we're talking about all this planning and wasting time and all this stuff, and we need to find you. So tell us about Black Girls Plan.
So the Black Girls Plan is a community dedicated to Black women, but open to all women. And it's really around the 8 dimensions of wellness, which is part and parcel of the Women's Wellness Garden. But this really focuses on the things that we feel out of sorts around and how to plan better around those things. So whether that is managing or planning a wedding, whether that is managing 2 or 3 children and all of their exercises and all of their activities. And now it's also planning school at home, whether it is there are no children and I'm simply planning all of my business ventures, as well as my secular profession, as well as whatever community events I have and community involvement. So this is really about how to do it. So the Women's Wellness Garden talks to you about checking in and understanding the things that make you healthy and whole. The way I look at the Black Girls Plan is, now this is the tactical part of it. How do I actually execute and take care of all those things?
Wow. This sounds so exciting. And so if somebody wanted to get involved with Black Girls Plan, how do they do that?
So we are on Facebook. It is a private group right now of over 450, close to 500 women. And so you would look for the Black Girls Plan. We're on Facebook. We're also on Instagram. On Instagram, of course, because Instagram's for photos, you'll see pictures of planners and some of the things that we use. But within the private Black Girls Plan group, that is where you have the opportunity to become part of the community. And we learn and we share from each other in that community. So the Black Girls Plan on Facebook.
Well, a lot of the posts that I see, I don't know. It just looks like you guys are creating these mini vision boards, even though even though I know they're planners, and so
Yeah.
it just looks like so much, But it's like fun. It's like arts and crafts for planning. I don't know, but I think that is something that, especially during this COVID season where we are at home, I just think that women have a whole renewed opportunity to do the thing that they always wanted to do. I keep saying this, I keep saying it, I'm going to keep saying it. Do the thing that they've always wanted to do, but they can plan it out now. They can actually orchestrate it and have the time. Can you believe that we have this time to breathe and plan it out? So I think that this is so powerful. So the Black Girls Plan or Black Girls Plan? Let me get it right.
The Black Girls Plan.
All right, fantastic.
Sisters, your body hears everything your mind says. Stay positive, reclaim your time, and live the life you were born to live. And that's today's coffee break.
This next section is a little interactive, right? There are all these quotes. I'm gonna read you a famous quote about time, okay? And then I want you to give me the Black Girls Plan version of that quote.
Ooh, okay.
Yes? Okay?
Got it.
Are you ready?
Got it.
Okay.
Ready.
Okay. Time is money.
The Black Girls Plan would say, and plan how you spend it.
All right. Time waits for no one.
The Black Girls Plan would say, facts, time waits for no one, but if you plan it, you get it all done.
Love it. Okay, better 3 hours too soon than a minute too late.
If you plan it, you're always on time.
Nice. The key is not in spending time, but investing in it.
So the Black Girl Plan would say, it's not about the destination, enjoy the journey.
I love it. So, Joy, what are you investing your time in? What are you investing your time in these days?
Great question. And it kind of goes back to how we started. I have really enjoyed investing my time in just becoming more aware of who I am and what my needs are, and allowing myself to enjoy that. So getting to know me, getting to know the things that I enjoy and doing more of those things. Also taking the time to be ministered to versus constantly giving out and checking that as my ministry box. So I think personal relationship, spiritual relationship has been wonderful for me. So spending time with me has been great.
Wow. Well, Joy, this has been a phenomenal conversation, one that I don't think that people should just have it, once a year. This is a conversation you should have with yourself pretty much every day. Wake up, but not to beat yourself up about planning, but to at least get it started. And I think it's so important. There's journaling there's a resurgence of women that journal, and I think the same way about your planner, that people are now beginning to plan for things. And I really praise God for you, because I know that in your life, in your work, in your spirituality, in your relationship with God, just in how you deal with people, you are very conscious of the days. And as I say, I go back to, listen, people are dying left, right, and center. and we don't know what tomorrow brings. And I think that that's why I'm so passionate about using your time wisely. Uh, and I really, really appreciate you actually creating something like this Black Girls Plan and the Women's Wellness Garden, especially for women, because we, I believe, get robbed of a lot of time. When you were talking about all the things that women want to do, have to do in a day, and it's not that they're procrastinating, it's not that they're poor planners, they just got a lot on the doggone plate. Right? It's got a lot going on. But you are helping us to kind of declutter and clear that plate. So, final thoughts, Joy. If you wanted to tell the sisters on Sacred Grounds, I want you to look into that camera and tell those sisters the best thing they can do for themselves today is
Give yourself grace. It doesn't all have to be done today. And I think we pressure ourselves to do it all now and to be super women. And that's all wonderful. But give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. That's what I would say. Doesn't have to all be done today.
I love it. Well, Joy, you are what your name is. You are a joy. You really are. I'm sure people say that to you all the time, but it's so easy to talk with someone who is living out their name. So I want to say thank you so much for joining us on Sisters on Sacred Grounds. And thank you all for tuning in, where we love to engage with women from all different walks of life and deal with real life issues that are right in our faces. We want you to continue to watch. We want you to continue to take this journey with us. And we are so excited to have you back again on Sisters on Sacred Grounds. So until next time, make sure that you get something warm and tasty and enjoy it over conversation, a little good music, and just relax and let God speak to you in only the way He can. See you next time.